Greetings, gentle viewers! It's time we reviewed Sextet.
He's using that ring!
Die before I let the motherfucker take another step! Oh, terribly sorry about all that. Business got in the way of pleasure. Some random bastard came in screaming about blood and pain and fire and shit. We dealt with him. Well, I dealt with him. But he did kill some of the cannon fodder. Oh well, like I said before, we're reviewing Sextet.
Who the fuck was that guy? I have no idea. He reminded me a bit of Ryan Reynolds in that shit superhero movie. But red. He left half the floor on fire, which is nice to look at, but I don't want to be mistaken for Death Clock again. Anyway, Sextet. This is the movie Mae West made after she saw that coming out of retirement and making Myra Breckenridge didn't quite kill off her legendary career. She so wanted to become an international joke that she came out of retirement to make an infamously bad movie. Twice. And the second time it worked.
It's a pity she didn't get to try a third time. Mae West does a striptease with the Beatles, anyone?
When I get older, losing my head, many years from now.
I hate my brain sometimes.
We open on a church, and if I didn't know for a fact that this was London, I would have thought this was the church the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man stood on at the end of Ghostbusters. This is the wedding of Marlowe Manners, though it looks more like a protest than a wedding.
And if they were doing this at the end of the film, they'd want to hang her from a fucking tree!
So who's getting this adoration, this army of screaming fans? Well, it's Marlowe Manners. Silly viewers, you should already know that. I just said it. Marlowe's played by Mae West, one of Hollywood's all-time greats, one of the most beautiful and sexy women who ever lived, when she was about 50 years younger than this. Now, I usually wouldn't even comment on the age of a woman in a film because it's usually pointless, but as you will see, this film only seems to exist to masturbate the ego of a woman who's getting close to death.
And in that way, it's a bit like a condemned person wanting one last kiss. Or cigarette.
Although, maybe she's the cigarette and her husband, the 20-something Timothy Dalton, is the condemned man. Marlowe emerges from the church alongside Timothy and his shame, and all three of them make it through the crowd. Thankfully, the shots chosen for this section keep them off screen as much as possible. Of course, it has the side effect of making it look like they teleported right from the church to her car.
And then... theme music. Mistress, you look like you need this. I can't kill someone who wants me to kill them. It feels weird. Listen. You have a point.
In the clips, I hope you got a nice long look at the cast in this thing. A nice, long, attentive look. Because each of those actors spent the rest of their careers trying to forget this film. And the least we can do is remember that they were in it for them. Now, in a coincidence that's designed for future shenanigans, the exclusive hotel that Mae and Dalton are staying at is also housing the UN. Apparently, their building was so unsafe that while repairs went on, they just needed to relocate to London. Although they could possibly just want a glimpse of Mae West. Wow, she looks like Vladisla's grandmother. Oh, ha ha, Pia.
But as these men of destiny ponder over the future of the world, we have time for a brief glimpse into the bridal chamber, where every preparation is being made to welcome the happy couple. And so, it's over to you, Gil Stratton.
Hello there, sports fans.
I'm told this guy was a real-life sportscaster. So instead of wondering why a sportscaster has been brought in to talk about a bridal suite, I now need to wonder why a real-life sportscaster has been brought in to play a sportscaster who's been brought in to talk about a bridal suite.
I can only think that they're trying to appeal to as wide an audience as possible.
Yeah, Jill Stratton, yeah, talk about those fucking dreads. Oh, man, look at those fucking flowers. What, are you fucking blind?
I know. Listen, maybe they're trying to play the bullshit flowers now, and later they'll pull out the roses.
Yeah, it's good strategy, man.
Now you're a man!
Look!
Dude, do you want to watch the game?
Fuck you, you pansy! I'm watching the bridal show!
And, this might be because everything else is so bad, but the most pleasant thing in the film so far is the fact that Dom DeLuise isn't playing someone I want to rape with a bulldozer. Will the record hold? Time will tell.
Sooner or later, time will tell.
All of this time being spent on someone's room getting made up. This is before digital television. There's probably about 5 channels. Are they seriously going to waste all their time on this shit? Has there ever been an entire show in terrestrial news dedicated to someone's fucking bedroom? Has this ever actually happened? Well, apart from that time I fucked a model with a snake tattoo, but that was only because I wanted to show off on HNN.
I certainly never expected to see quite that much of the mistress, but I'm glad I did. Next up, Geraldo Rivera gets into a fight with orangutan. Who won?
Of course, I have to wonder if this hotel really has a woman who's following rivals Beatlemania and the fucking UN staying at it, then why is only this dill hole in the sports guy covering it? So, at the entrance to the hotel, oh, that's where they apparently stashed the world's media. Mae and Dalton finally turn up and...
She looks so much like a mummy it's bordering on necrophilia.
With that makeup and the soft focus in danger of destroying the audience's sight, she looks like a fucking incorruptible. It's the wax. The wax they used to make him look barely human. So, Mae starts out with dialogue that went out of fashion 60 years earlier.
You get a lot of proposals from your male fans?
Yeah, and what they propose is nobody's business.
Did I mention that she wrote the play the film is based on? No? Well, I should have. She was in charge of this debacle. This isn't just an old lady getting taken for a ride. Well, it is an old lady getting taken for a ride, but she's doing most of the writing herself. Anyway, someone gives Timothy Dalton some very useful information.
May I welcome you to the Sussex Court and say that I and my entire staff are at your disposal day and night.
Everyone working in the film studio would be delighted to help you escape the film, Mr. Dalton.
Does getting married mean you're giving up Hollywood?
Me give up Hollywood? Are you kidding?
Hey, for Hollywood!
Hooray for San Pedro!
This leads into the first random as fuck musical number. A bit unusual even among other random as fuck musical numbers because the main characters don't sing in this song. Who the fuck am I kidding? The main characters in this musical almost never sing. It's like they realised partway through scripting that the film was short and decided to make it a musical, but rather than go to the trouble of writing songs that'd fit, they just poached them from some dumb, unemployable songwriter and stuck them in at random intervals.
How do you like Big Ben, Marlowe?
I don't know. I never met the gentleman.
I wouldn't mind the crap songs. Or the choreography, which frankly is like they found a random guy off the street, threw a brick-labeled Busby Berkeley at his head, and once he regained consciousness, they just got him to choreograph the damn thing.
I wouldn't mind any of that. It's just...
Why the fuck is Bollywood Groucho Marx dancing on the fucking stairs?
How do you like it in London, Marlowe?
Oh, I like it anywhere.
And must we stop the crap song every so often for a one-liner that's even less entertaining than it?
I have to say, Timothy Dalton has an easy job though, apart from trying to nurse his dignity back to health. All he has to do is lead a woman 3 times his age around and try to avoid the dancers. But where all these fucking balloons came from is anyone's guess. Up at the bridal suite, things get raunchy.
I feel like the first man who landed on the moon.
In a few minutes, you're gonna be the first man who landed on Venus.
That's just sad.
Oh, I wanted to carry you across the threshold.
You'll break her in half.
Mistress, we performed an autopsy on the mysterious intruder and I have something to report.
What?
He was wearing red.
Oh, fucking brilliant. When your duties are finished for the day, I want you to prepare a very, very, very in-depth report on the inside of an active incinerator.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yes, in case the fact that they're in London, his character being called Lord Michael Barrington, his accent and the fact that he's a fucking lord didn't help you realise that he's British, he hums that to make it obvious. And after all that, I'm still pretty sure there's some poor bastard out there who's wondering why Timothy Dalton's playing a Bulgarian. Dom DeLuise has arrived to beg Timothy Dalton into allowing Mae Wests to shoot a screen test for her new movie, and to get fitted for wardrobe. He reluctantly agrees, but wishes there was more alcohol in his room. On his way out, Dom DeLuise runs into the least subtle secret agent since possibly ever. The secret agent wants Mae to do some undercover work for them, and wait. Timothy Dalton, Mae West, spying. Oh, fuck, I am so sorry.
On an all-time high.
So, do you remember the magic tape recording in Mae Wests' The Room? Well, this did it first, and even stupider, as Mae West is working on her memoirs and goes from talking about Timothy Dalton, her 7th husband, to talking about her 2nd husband.
Now let me tell you about another guy. I think he was husband number 2.
In seconds. They didn't happen to mention them back to back. Oh no, she went from chapter 34 to something like chapter 10 in a couple of seconds. And now, prepare yourself, because from here things get silly. And not in the way they were going for. Up in the bridal suite, Timothy Dalton sees Marcy from Married with Children talking shit about him on television.
If she were a chap, I'd punch her right on the nose.
Because he wants to talk to Marlowe alone, Dom convinces Dalton that it's been recorded live. Downstairs. So he heads off to beat her up, I think. What's stupider than him being taken in by that? The fact that it's accurate. She is downstairs being recorded live. So on behalf of the secret agent, Dom talks Mae West into eventually meeting up with her 2nd husband, Tony Curtis. And Dom decides that it's just not safe for her to have all her memoirs on that tape. Her 34 chapters of memoirs on a single tape.
To have that much space on a tape? I think she's been recording over Rumble.
I'm guessing he just thinks that an amazingly long tape or amazingly short book mustn't be allowed into the hands of the public because of national security. So he decides to shred it. Anyway, Mae agrees to do some undercover work for the Secret Service by having a sexy dinner with Tony Curtis. Or he'll fuck up the talks that are going on at the UN. How? I have no fucking idea. What are the talks? I have no idea. Why Mae and Dom DeLuise suddenly need to talk about shit that they already know to get the information across to the audience?
In the beginning, the studio asked me to go out with some important people.
I, again, have no idea.
Mistress, as you know, at some point off screen, the mysterious stranger's brain got cut off and he bled magma all over the laboratory.
I know, and then one of the minions picked it off the ground and put it on his finger. Terrible!
Indeed, he then died within seconds of taking it off.
It's such a good thing that we are going over things that we already know that may or may not have actually anything to do with the rest of the episode in the presence of the audience. Otherwise they wouldn't know any of this shit.
She tells her long story of how she got involved in espionage, and based on these pictures, she's always been this age. Couldn't they have got some pictures of films that she made in the past but are now in the public domain? Or did she actually not want to compete with herself for the title of the film's most attractive woman in her own mind? Are they actually trying to convince us that she's not in her 80s? Or that she's always been in her 80s? I have no fucking idea. Anyway, because Marcy from Married with Children really was downstairs, she decides to interview Timothy Dalton. He misunderstands the questions, and it all culminates in this.
Sir Michael, are you gay?
Gay?
Yes, gay.
Oh, yes, I would say so. Of course I'm gay.
It's hard to believe that he's already turned down the role of James Bond at least once in his career at this point. And speaking of James Bond...
So, in other news, an American athletics team has randomly come all the way to London just to cram inside a lift with Dom DeLuise as he's trying to have an espionage-related meeting.
Wouldn't an athletics team take the fucking stairs? Or have I got them mixed up with StarCraft players again?
And in a scene that's so special, it's the only time I'll use my This Is Bad comedy clip. Dom DeLuise tries to shred the magical cassette tape.
Oh, pardon me. Is the shredding machine in there?
Good God, I hope not.
This is bad comedy.
That's all you're getting. If I used that clip every time there was a bad joke, the review would be 4 hours of lines from the movie, followed by Galvatron. I spared us both that. But what I won't spare us is Timothy Dalton singing.
You belong to me now. Ain't gonna set you free now. When those guys
Spare me the madness.
around,
I will.
talking me down.
Hold him.
Here with your heart and you won't hear a sound.
Stop.
But I really love you.
Oh, stop.
I'll be thinking of you. Look in my heart and that love keep us together.
Whatever.
Say, now that the story's going nowhere, again, who wants to see another piece of Brandwell's frock casting?
Yes, Keith Moon, the drummer from The Who, is in charge of Mae's costuming for her new movie. He's also flamboyantly gay. So, hilarity?
Wild silk. Wild silk.
Beautiful.
Wild silk.
Wild mage. Wild!
He's so over the top, he's in danger of crashing into a fucking satellite.
That dress is so fantastic that even I would wear it. In fact, I have.
When I'm good, I'm very good. But when I'm bad, I'm better. When I'm good, I'm very good. But when I'm bad, I'm better.
That woman is spinning in her grave.
One thing you realise while watching this film is that long-term exposure to Mae West does strange things to people. For instance, Keith Moon starts to turn into a pirate.
Gold. Yes, gold. Gold. Real gold. Solid gold. Gold, yes. Our absolute gold. Here's the real stuff.
They then let him write his own dialogue.
Look at that. Look at that. I'm a genius. I'm an absolute genius. No wonder. Dior gave it all up and went into perfumes.
So Dom DeLuise uses his hijinks detector and goes into the kitchens, where he hears a chef rant about all the foreign chefs working for the UN delegates. And they've edited something out of his rant.
Look at Turks, Ethiopians, Orientals, Arabs.
Here's a few suggestions for what exactly is missing.
Look at Turks, Ethiopians, Orientals.
Porch monkeys.
Dagos.
Faggots.
Dykes.
Arabs. They're using goat's milk and curry and sheep's eyeballs. God knows what else. Disgusting.
So just before it can turn into a race riot, Dom throws the tape into the oven. Now in a sensible film, he would have just fucking destroyed it and thrown it into the trash. But no! Because this is a farce, he bakes it and a chef arrives seconds later with mutant pain-free hands and takes the cake out of the oven.
This film is really quite bad. Pretty poor, to be honest. One might almost say that it is awful.
I mean, they couldn't even be bothered to do some research into British tabloid headlines. The papers have broken the news that Timothy Dalton accidentally announced he was gay on television, and their headline is...
Has Marlowe married a gay couple? Yes, what?
A British tabloid wouldn't even know what a caballero is, let alone use the word in his headline. A far more likely headline was something like, Marlowe marries a gaylord.
Now, do you want nightmares? I can give you nightmares.
Stiff upper lip, you know?
You gotta start somewhere.
Anyway, eventually, Timothy Dalton gets sent off to prove that he's not. And Dom DeLuise tries to ignore the fact that some of the cardboard cutouts of Mae West look more lifelike than the real thing. And he does his own song and dance number. For everyone's benefit, I've replaced the audio with something easier to listen to. Meanwhile, in a lift, we have some grade A pointlessness as George Raft enters, has some pointlessness, lets Mae pretend it's still the 30s, and then leaves before the lift doors even close.
Oh, that's good pointlessness.
Well, sports fans, it appears that the Marlowe Manors Michael Barrington ball game has been stopped at the goal line. What the fans are asking is Sir Michael what Marlowe claims he is, or is he a sheep in wolf's clothing?
Oh yeah, the marital problems of an old woman! 10 Tower says he's gay! Oh, you are on! Yeah!
Oh, Mr. Sportscaster, why are you talking about the marital life of an older woman? Why are you doing it in the middle of a fucking hotel? And in this little scene where Timothy Dalton manages to convince more people that he's gay, why don't you know what a coxswain is?
In fact, you know, at Oxford I was considered to be quite a coxswain.
I beg your pardon?
Why the fuck don't you know what a coxswain is? You're a sportscaster! It's a sporting term! From a sport!
I don't give a fuck about the sport! Go back to the old ladies talking about marriage!
So, remember about 180 stupid things ago when I mentioned that the Secret Service wants Mae to do some work for them? She's being sent to get her Russian diplomat former husband to sign something, or the UN talks will collapse. I might have mentioned this before, but my brain's leaking and I can't remember. The guy's played by Tony Curtis. Because I'm guessing Mae West wanted to sink as many legendary screen careers as she could with one movie. And at least he's honest for a diplomat.
I go for a quickie.
On the way to his room, Mae tries to keep her hip from breaking. Luckily, she can sit down as soon as she arrives. The Russian stereotypes are thrown indiscriminately and at random. Caviar, or vodka, pronouncing every second V word with a W, throwing glass and claiming random things as Russian.
As the great Soviet poet Shakespeare said, if hunger be the music of love, eat it.
I know this saying. It was invented in Russia.
Tony Curtis really throws himself into the part. If the scene was 30 seconds longer, I'd expect him to break into a Cossack dance. If it was a minute longer, I'd expect him to start asking about nuclear vessels. Mae spots the tape baked into the cake, and assuming it's the same tape, she tells him to chuck it out the window. Now, in some shots, his room's on the ground floor with trees outside, and in others, it's also ground floor, but right in the middle of a park. Which is strange, because right away, we can see that the room has a fucking balcony!
And in case you thought I forgot about this running joke...
So, why the fuck have they decided to go out onto the balcony? Apart from her husband being around, there's an army of media all very interested in her. I figured he'd closed his curtains deliberately because of that, but clearly I gave everyone involved in this too much credit. So, Dalton spots her on the balcony and gets jealous, and the tape makes it to a gym via a fucking dog. The gym where the athletics team are practicing by way of shenanigans. And Mae West sings,
There'll come a time, now don't forget it. There'll come a time you'll regret it.
Mistress, we just heard what sounds like a Class 16 squeaky-voiced hamster death in the review room. Are you alright?
No, it's Mae West.
Oh, is she a zombie?
Not quite.
After I'm gone away.
What a woman.
So, Mae West randomly decides to visit the gym, and I think if this film was remade today and the sexes were switched and there was an 80-something man who was starring in a vanity project where all the women in the world find him sexy, and he just happened to surround himself with semi-dressed adoring people 60-ish years his younger, I'd like to think that someone would think this might not be a great idea. Maybe.
Hey, Miss Manners, this is our mascot. This is Ricky.
Wow, nice mullet. Someone needs to tell that guy the 80s haven't started yet.
Hey, guess what? Today's his birthday. He's 21. How about that?
Oh, you're a big boy now.
Well, not as big as the others.
It's not the size that counts, it's the quality. Tonight's the night I've waited for, because you're not just my fan anymore. You've grown into the biggest boy beneath the sun. Happy birthday, 21.
I'm pretty sure that song was originally supposed to be about someone younger than that. Maybe they thought it was weird or something to sing a love song to someone nearly 70 years your junior.
65 years though, no problems.
So there's jumping, and the tape ends up being knocked up off the trampoline, through a skylight and into a stone lion's mouth.
Well, everything goes up for Marlowe.
That was so terrible, I think you gave me cancer.
After Mae West leaves, Timothy Dalton comes down to prove to the world that he's not gay by lifting weights surrounded by mostly naked men. Apparently, muscle queens are another thing he has no concept of. Although I have to say, Timothy Dalton is one of the few men who could do a full workout dressed like that and still look like he could attend his own wedding. After all this, Dalton pretends a punching bag is the director's head. We're also introduced to Mae West's fourth husband, an East European film director, played by Ringo Starr of all people.
Now we start the scene with a big close-up on the back of your head.
That's the most Scouse Latvian I've ever seen.
Ringo's reaction to waking up from a 3-month bender and discovering he was in this film can be seen in the following clip.
Try to tear your face apart.
Ringo's doing the screen test for Mae and her new leading man. Though why they're screen testing two people who already have the job, I have no fucking idea. But hey, at least I'm not expecting the film to suddenly start making sense. Why's this scene here? Simple. 2 reasons. 1, it lets someone else be totally in love with Mae West.
Darling, I know you belong to another, but your husband can never love you the way I love you, and you'll never love your husband the way you love me.
And 2, because it lets Dalton think that something's going on. Because, fucking hilarious. Minion, come here!
Yes, mistress?
Could you be a dear and get me a glass of water, please?
Yes, mistress.
This fucking film! Oh, it's fucking hilarious! It's a fucking... This is so fucking bad! Oh, fuck you, man. Fucking mad. Oh, thank you very much. This fucking film is like a... This fucking... It's... This fucking... This is bad water.
You're not the same chap who was here a minute ago.
Michael.
Darling, I do wish you'd make up your mind.
How fucking stupid or insane or angry do you need to be to not notice the lights, camera, and everyone in the room with them? He should be looking at the whole crew right now. He even noticed that within the space of a couple of seconds it's a different guy than the one he walked in on, saying the same lines. He knew she was doing a screen test today. This is like two types of stupid and incest and created a deformed inbred freak baby of stupid.
But you know when your wife was my wife? Your wife was some wife. I only hope my wife is your wife, like your wife was my wife. You know what I mean?
Let me make myself clear. I am fine with people finding 80-something Mae West sexy. I am fine with Mae West playing someone who's still into sex well into her 80s. What I don't care for is the fact that everyone in this film is into gerontophilia. It's just unlikely.
Is that what I'm going to become? Another ex-husband?
That depends on how you shape up, honey. The night is still young.
Timothy Dalton responds to the possibility of being alone with her by falling asleep. Though he could just be faking to avoid fucking her. But if it is real, what's he dreaming of? Something thrilling, no doubt.
You'll never know how I watched you from the shadows as a child.
Well, we're about an hour into the film. I think we're due another deeply embarrassed famous actor.
Oh, thank you, George Hamilton. Whether it's playing Zorro's gay brother or pretending to be in love with a woman old enough to be your mother, you never give up the chance to make a fool of yourself. And in this case, while apparently playing Al Capone.
Can I help you, sir? This man is sweet. And who shall I say is calling? Give me the number to Miss Manor Suite. I'm afraid we're not allowed to give that information out right now. The bridal suite, sir.
Mistress, we've analyzed the ring.
Yes.
It's definitely not made out of plastic, even though it looks like it. And we're about to test it on a subject.
Sorry.
Get him back.
Yes, mistress.
George Hamilton was her last husband, a member of the mob, and he's very interested in rekindling his relationship with Mae West. Just like everyone else. Just as a rule of thumb for everyone, but if by far the oldest or youngest person in your film is supposed to be a sex symbol, then you may or may not have a problem. Anyway, there's an additional reason why they're worried about George Hamilton appearing in the hotel looking for Mae West.
Remember the week and a half you were a widow?
Yes.
You weren't.
She so resembles a walking corpse that the dead themselves are coming back to life to sue her for copyright infringement.
She was married to George Hamilton, but then he died, but apparently he's still alive, so she might still be married to him. Okay, embarrassing. But why wasn't he declared legally dead? Or if he faked his death, then why aren't they calling the police? I'm fairly sure that's a crime. Yeah, they're all terrified of him, but for a violent gangster, he looks less threatening than one of the gangsters in Superman the Musical. Anyway, fuck it. So now they're not sure if Mae divorced George before his death or not.
Marlo, are you sure that you didn't go through with the divorce?
I don't know.
Apparently, these idiots don't keep records. Surely a call to the lawyer would sort this all out. Although, surely with him being dead, wouldn't that have ended the marriage already? And if it doesn't, what's going to happen? Are you going to declare Mae West a bigamist and force her to join the FLDS?
Oh, Brain, please don't answer that. Oh, jeez!
So, Dalton was pretending to be asleep. Again, I assume it's so he didn't have to fuck Mae West. And he overhears how the only way they're going to find out if she's still married to George Hamilton or not is to find the tape with her memoirs on it. Again, call your fucking lawyer! So, you've all been wanting me to use this. So here you go. Dom and George arrive to find the tape, there's streets right below it. When earlier they made it quite clear that the lions were right above the gym. The same gym that Dalton leaps into about a minute later once they've given up and he finds the tape.
It'd serve these fuckers right if they were filming EGA at the same time, and those were Joan Crawford's memoirs.
Back at the UN, they're showing that their desire for a glimpse of Mae West overrode their desire for a venue with a dining room because they're all eating in the conference room. Each country has made its national dish, and they're exchanging them with one another as a sign of friendship, thus creating hilarity.
You stick with your French.
A poor united world in microcosm. I'm afraid they'll find our humor very, very dry.
Though if I knew why Albertine Newman is playing Jimmy Carter, I suspect I'd know a great deal more about the universe than I know now. Anyway, all the main characters end up back at the bridal suite, and Timothy Dalton meets George Hamilton.
Husband number 6,
Meet husband number
5.
You're no number 6, you're 0.
I am not a number. I am a free man.
So Dalton gave the tape to the racist chef and he placed it in a cake he's taking to the UN. And this is all being played live on television.
Oh God, cakes! I love fucking cakes! You love fucking cakes? No, I meant I love cakes, especially the pretty ones. The fucking was for emphasis. I don't like to actually put my penis inside the cake. That, despite what you may have heard, that's not me.
Everyone in the bridal suite just happens to be watching the TV show that happens to be showing the cake being given to the UN, and they all happen to have spotted the tape. So everyone rushes down to the UN's conference room to check out the tape and work out who Mae West's married to.
I'd love to complain about how unlikely this is, but I sorta can't.
Timothy Dalton planned all this. Somehow. Look at him. He's giving the full-on Mahoney look, years before Steve Guttenberg ever did.
Like a mouse.
Mae West gets to walk into the UN because she's Mae West. George Hamilton gets in because, little known fact, the UN's favourite film is Zorro the Gay Blade. The UN wants to play the tape in their presence for some reason. George Hamilton waves a gun around and the Godfather's sitting in on the meeting.
Yes, mistress, the Mafia are actually so powerful that in some UN declarations they are accepted as an independent nation.
Really?
No!
Godfather, un amico di tutti i poverini, un amico per tutti la mia vita.
So, while the presence of hundreds of armed guards can't make George Hamilton put his gun away, a substandard Marlon Brando impersonator can. So, they play the tape because it's so indestructible it survived being bitten, stabbed, thrown around, and baked twice in 2 separate cakes.
Poor Rumble.
Rumble, you're killing Rumble.
Anyway, the tape reveals that she divorced George Hamilton, and he leaves without threatening to kill Timothy Dalton, or even kidnapping Mae West. Seriously, if you love her that much and you just walk out, what sort of a lunatic crime boss are you? And if the UN don't sign the peace treaty, then Mae West threatens to play all the secrets about them, because she fucked them all, and told all the stories in her memoirs. And for the first time since a Latvian hooker fucked a Bolivian cattle farmer and his dog in 1876, has peace been brokered as a direct result of someone being a slut. Why not just have her arrested for blackmail? Simple, then they couldn't join in the singing.
Oh. You got the cutest little baby face. You got the cutest little baby face.
Now, you'd think the film is over, but not quite. Timothy Dalton's left her and she decides to go after him. While she's getting packed and leaving, there's enough time for one last song.
Bluest chance with you. Next. Lost you to someone new. Next. There go his plans for 2. Right down the drain. His loss is someone's gain.
And to help you guess who that is, I'll change the music.
Yes, this is a young Alice Cooper, and if you watch carefully you can see the moment where he realised the enormity of the mistake he'd made by being in this. Right there, the double hit. For that second he's imagining stabbing someone. So, why's Alice Cooper in this film? My guess is that if Ringo had to be embarrassed forever, then so did he.
Oh, hello, Alice.
Why the fuck did you cast Alice Cooper in a totally not Alice Cooper role just to call him fucking Alice?
Oh, Marlowe, listen. I've got something very important to tell you. Sir Michael is one of England's top secret agents. He's bigger than 007.
I never got a chance to take his measurements.
Oh.
You know what? I'm fucking glad you're both dead. Got 2 less jobs to do.
So Dalton's in his boat, hanging out in his cabin, humming and getting drunk, and how the fuck did she get past him? Undressed and into that bed without him noticing? A broken Segway moves faster than her. The only door to the cabin's right where he can fucking see it. The Vaseline they stuck on the lens has affected his brain. Seduction, 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 and Mae Wests' last ever double entendre on screen. Let's hope it's good.
The British are coming.
Well, that happened.
What the fuck can I say about this? It's not funny. It's like a bad comedian's fever dream. It's got a weird cast grabbed nearly at random, a woman trying to be more than half of her age, and Timothy Dalton doing the worst impersonation of Roger Moore that he can manage. The jokes are terrible, so any laughs you get are purely by accident. It's so unfunny that you're more likely to laugh at this film by sitting there and thinking about your best friend's funeral, rather than actually paying attention. It's like a 90-minute car crash involving 3 clowns, a rabbi, 14 Rottweilers, and Gary Busey. It's a mystery how everyone involved got involved, and it would be interesting in a morbid sort of way if it was only 90 seconds long. Watch this for something weird, but don't expect good weird. It's a very, 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 very bad weird. And if you do watch it, don't blame me if you find yourself clutching a bloody knife or dancing to the sound of your baby daughter's life support machine. Sextet-based insanity might be funny, but it's never pretty.
I'm Amanda Hagen and...
You monster! 2 months ago, you made me eat my own children!
Oh, important day for you. But for me, it was Tuesday.
And you steal dialogue!
If you are what I think you are, you should be just about dead. This is going to prove very useful indeed. I'm Amanda Hagen and he doesn't have to live with that anymore.
I'm sorry, mistress. I was too slow.
You move faster or I aim higher.
Greta asks Sabrina to go for a walk in the woods and begins to open what could be a new Pandora's box. A box full of hidden perversities and facts so strange and shocking that not even the sickest brain could invent them. She tells how Ilsa had a child. In fact, she had more than one. First, there was a boy. He was born with an Elvis tattoo. That monstrous freak of nature died very soon after.